Welcome to a special edition of Veterans Talk, The Forgotten Promise. And we prepared something special today that I am going to play right now a little bit for you. And it's not playing, is it? Okay, well, we'll put that up on our Facebook page, VTRC, afterwards, but we had a graphic in that to put up with some other things in there because we're not in Graceland, but we're in Las Vegas, and we're not with Elvis, but we're with Elvis's son. And I want to welcome Michael Presley to the show again. The last time you were here, it's been 2 years already.
Has it been
It's
that
been
long
2
already?
years. Yes.
Oh, my word. A ton of things have happened since then.
Yes,
We're going to give you a
I
good
know.
update.
We were waiting on the book and a lot of other things. I guess there's a cover for the book now. So
Yes, we've got a cover
the
to
book
show
cover
everybody.
here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's called In My Father's Footsteps, written by Michael Presley. And you said that there was minimal editing done. And are you...
Yes, the unabridged version is close to 5,000 pages.
Okay.
Now, that is not the version that's going to be put up on the shelves in the bookstores, of
Okay.
course, because they've told me, well, they said, we're not rewriting the Bible, and you're not rewriting, what was that book that was like so long?
War and Peace.
War and Peace, that's it. And they said, we're not writing another War and Peace book, but if you want to do the unabridged version, then we'll do that. So they have cut the book down to an acceptable version that will be available on the shelves at all the local bookstores and the internet, Amazon and all of the platforms. And in addition to that, you'll still be able to get the unabridged version, of course, through the website.
Okay, well, that's cool. And you were working on the CD before too, and you were going to make some special CDs with special things in them. Is that still a go on that?
Yes, actually, we're already into our fifth CD. We're right now recording in Sequoia Recording Studios out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Okay. Now, Sequoia Recording Studios happens to be a studio that Dolly Parton has actually recorded some of her biggest hits in and albums. So we're there. They've got fantastic people. It's a fantastic studio in Knoxville, Tennessee. And this particular album here was actually recorded in the cradle of country western music, which is Maynardville, Tennessee.
I was going to say Nashville, but I must be wrong. I guess that's where country music started.
Well, yes. Country music is Nashville, but the cradle of country music is Maynard, Tennessee. Okay. And the individual that worked the engineering for this did the front of the house sound for my father, which was huge. You know, while my father was performing in the Tennessee area and all of the surrounding states, John is his name, worked there and worked its front of the house sound, mixing all the front of the house sound for my dad. And so what we've done now with this album and it's called the Michael Presley Reflection Album, and you'll see an actual reflection here in the belt buckle.
Wow. On
the front. And the belt buckle reflects my image. It's not my father's image, but it sure looks like my dad in reflection there.
Okay, I'll tell you what, after the interview, I'd like to take a picture of that, and then I can post it up on our Facebook page.
You know what we should do is to have you download the music, and you can use the music in your okay. different things.
That would be great.
And we've got great songs on here. And what we did was we went back and took the original tapes, big 4-inch tapes. They put them up on the graphic equalizer. And I'm not really tech savvy on the recording. I handle creative. And so I'm not into the engineering and everything, but I was able to watch them do this, and they separate all of the instruments and all of the voices and my father's voice there, and they actually took my voice as I did the songs with my father, slipped them right into the cuts, reassembled the cuts, and then put them on the album. And that's probably the most simplified version I can say that they did.
So you kind of echo Elvis's voice with your voice?
Oh, we're so close together. You will hear the differences in the voice. Sometimes I'll take a breath, and you can hear me taking a breath, and I'll come in a little earlier than my father, and it's like a nanosecond. or I end a note longer than my father, and again it's a nanosecond.
Oh, you mean a Ninon second, right?
Yes,
because Ninon
Ninon's
is joining us today too on her with Vegas Live.
absolutely
Is joining us today too for this special
and
edition.
listen, she's a fabulous woman. She's from England. She's a fabulous woman, and you know, there's much women, you know, in the United States and around the world. But then you come in contact with one that you just know you've never really met anybody like her before. And the quality and level of her womanhood is just way up here. In fact, she's actually got a program where she's helping to teach women to actually be in that position, to learn how to dress, to talk, to sit, you know, what to wear, how to be personality. There's different personalities, you know. There's your private personality, and then there's your party personality, and all of these different things. And I think that's absolutely wonderful, because guys out there, if you are, you know, wondering, you're going to start to see a higher quality of women coming to the streets. And I don't know about you, but I think that would be wonderful.
Well, I mean, the guys have a long way to go too. We're all Neanderthals.
Listen, she's given me a good idea about this. I think I might need to write another book, only this time I'm going to call it Where Is It Written? It's just come to me, the idea. Where is it written? And I think in there I'm going to talk to boys and men about opening the door.
Okay, well, you've heard that first on Veterans Talk, The Forgotten Promise.
And getting out of the car, and if their lady is trying to get out of the car, you reach over and says, honey, just cool your heels, just wait. You know, don't take away my pleasure from me. Let me get out and get around the car. Now, if he's an older man, give him a couple extra moments, ladies, okay, because it takes a couple extra moments. You can check your makeup. You can get all ready for your big display when you come out of the car. Now, I'm going to tell you that I do this all the time. And if I'm with a lady that is too quick to get out of the car, explain to her, I say, you know, you take away my pleasure. But guys, listen, if you allow her to get out of the car and she's already moving away from the car by the time you get out, you have lost all of the wonderment and excitement and thrill of a woman stepping out of an automobile. Extending those beautiful legs, reaching her hand out so that you can help lift her from the car and give her stability, because she should be wearing heels. Give her stability so that she's righted herself when she comes out of the car. And if you aren't there to do all of that, then you missed all the excitement of your lady. And you're the first person before you walk in to be able to take a good look at her and recognize, wow, she's set to go. Boy, she looks good on my arm.
Well, there you go.
So, guys out there, be looking for that book. And I'll tell you, ladies, be looking for Ninon's program, because she's gonna teach you all the ins and outs of that.
And Nina will be joining us later today, and she'll talk to you one-on-one just like me.
Absolutely.
So we'll be able to get a little bit of her viewpoints in there.
Yes.
I brought up some things here that I don't know how much of this you would remember, but some things that Elvis did back in the day. And I'll start with the biggest one was 1970. And Elvis received a death threat. Do you remember that?
I do.
And I guess the FBI was called. Was there any special things about that?
My father got death threats on a regular basis. You have no idea. There have been men known to chase after my father and track him down and try to get in, you know, here, there, or everywhere. And my dad took it all within, you know, stride. There is actually, he got involved in an assault. Okay,
that's not unusual.
And you know, and let me tell you right now that the Presley family has a background of how can I say this politically correct?
Well, go ahead and say.
All right,
we're not political.
Okay, my grandfather, his father Vernon, was arrested, prosecuted and sentenced to jail for 3 years for changing the numbers on a check. Now, believe it or not, it was a check of some barn animal that had been sold. And he was paid, I guess, for the barn animal. And the check was not actually changed by him, but was changed by one of the other relatives because they thought that $2 wasn't enough, so they changed the check to something like $20. Okay, and my grandfather got caught and done, and I think it was his boss or somebody like that was involved in it, and it was a company check. At any rate, he got sentenced to prison for 3 years. My grandmother, my father's mother, Gladys, ended up getting everybody in the community to sign a petition to let Vernon out of jail. And when they all saw it, the person who signed it also was the victim. And he signed it and said, you know, you're right, it was a mistake, and I probably should have paid $20 or whatever the amount was for the item, and you know, but I didn't, and he did the check, and it's all done, and you really need to let him out of prison.
You know, you mentioned one thing earlier there, and I'm going to go back to that about Elvis coming on in concert. Was he ever booed coming onto the stage?
I've got to tell you, he was booed at the Grand Ole Opry. He was booed the first time, folks, in Las Vegas, Nevada, if you can believe that. He had come to Las Vegas, Nevada, and they just, you know, back then it was Frank Sinatra, it was the Golden Boys, Midnight Idols, right, the Rat Pack, and here comes this young man, still with some acne, okay, and he's wanting to get into Vegas, and Vegas is wanting to hire him. And back then, my father had not been refined yet, although he was beautiful, okay, even in the 1950s. But he had not gone through the refinement that we know happens to men when we go and enter military service.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, the reason I brought that up is there was an artist that was booed, and I'll tell you who he was, Bob Dylan. Now, can you think of a reason why Bob Dylan would get booed?
No.
He was playing an electric guitar at a concert.
And they booed him
because it was electric guitar. It wasn't the conventional
oh my word
guitar, and they booed him because that was back in the well, let me get a date here. That was back in 1965 that he used an electric guitar in concert, and he was booed for doing that because Dylan, you know, like your father, has a distinct sound.
That's correct.
And they were used to him, and the electric guitar was not part of that. And he got booed when he came on stage.
Well, let me tell you now, in addition to my father being booed, he was banned from the Grand Ole Opry. In fact, the director for the Grand Ole Opry was there, and he actually looked at my father and said, "Son, do you have a day job?" And he says, "Yes, sir, I do. I drive a truck for a living." And he says, "Well, I think you need to forget about singing. Don't ever come back to the Grand Ole Opry." He says, "Forget about singing because you can't sing. You need to go drive your truck and be happy with driving your truck." My father, a couple of weeks after that, turned around and signed a contract with Louisiana Hayride for 52 weeks. Every weekend he was at the Louisiana Hayride for 52 weeks. It was part of his explosive coming out, and he exploded all over the place. And even today, that person has said in memoirs, you know, it was the biggest mistake he ever made was to go ahead and kick Elvis Presley out of, you know, that place. And my father was booed in the South. His records were actually burned.
Wow.
In the middle of the South, in the square, and you could see the video of the officials there in those towns going on their TV programs and saying, "We're not going to allow this man who has been sexually active since a young boy, now bringing this to our young women folk and making those overt and sexual moves on stage."
Well, it's interesting. You brought that up, Louisiana Hayride. And I want to go with that for the simple reason is we've all heard the phrase, Elvis has left the building.
Yes, yes, yes.
That originated on his last night on Louisiana Hayride. And I've got the particular quote here, and I'll read it for you because it's kind of interesting. But it all started the Elvis has left the building thing.
Wow.
But it starts like this. All right, all right. Elvis has left the building. I've told you absolutely straight up to this point. You know that he has left the building. We left the stage, went out and back with the policeman, and he is now gone from the building. So that's the official quote, and that was December 16th, 1956, by Horace Logan, who was I guess he was one of the promoters for the show.
Wow.
So I don't know if you know that piece or not. I'll give this to you.
Oh,
You
please
can take
do.
that for your book.
Absolutely.
But I found that interesting because we always hear the phrase, Elvis has left the building. And I wanted to get into how that originated and if there was a story with it. And it looks like you didn't know there was a story with it.
No, I didn't know that
So
it originated
now
way
you've got
back
it.
there.
Yeah.
I only know the origination of the 70s.
Yeah, well,
You know, because
the other,
that was
let's see,
definitely
that's
done
not
in the
this page,
70s.
but I have another page here where they actually used the phrase Elvis has left the building, and that was in 1975. He performed in Houston, and do you know what song he started with?
Was it C.C. Ryder?
It was C.C. Ryder,
Okay.
and he closed. And C.C. Ryder was not recorded with the concert tape, so that was recorded separately. And whoever put the YouTube video up used the recording of a separate C.C. Ryder and plugged that in the front of it. So the magic of editing came into being for somebody to put up, and it's a great audio concert. If you get the chance to listen to it, it's up on YouTube. And he closed with
Can't Help Falling in Love?
Can't Help Falling in Love. So,
Those were actually classic, iconic songs. And let me tell you, here in Vegas, he did one show in the entire history from the 1969-1970 period to 1977. Every show, except for one, started with 2001 Space Odyssey, C.C. Ryder, and then ended with Can't Help Falling in Love. However, this one show, and you can listen to the show on the internet because they have it, and everybody's talked about it. They said, we don't understand why Elvis had this one show at the International Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada, 1974. It was opening night, folks. You can find it. I'll give you the date, August 19th, 1974, and that was his summer festival here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and that date, his opening night, opening show, he performed the show that he had never performed in his life. He came out in the peacock outfit, which he had worn in other locations, but he comes out to Big Boss Man. The drum beat and the band hasn't started playing, the curtain starts to open, and he grabs away the curtain and pushes it off and walks out on stage to the song Big Boss Man. No 2001 Space Odyssey, no C.C. Ryder. He immediately goes into a whole group of songs, okay, that were not the big hits. And it was met with lukewarm appreciation. And you can hear the people in the background. They're not screaming and tearing at him. They're just politely clapping. But he did songs like Bitter They Are, The Harder They Fall, My Boy, It's Midnight. There was a reason for that show. My father was trying something out that he was going to plan to do in 1978. A lot of you folks don't know, and I bet you they won't ever tell you about this, but Vegas, his last show in Vegas was it was supposed to be, he ended his shows here in August and then went back to Graceland and was supposed to come back to Vegas. It never happened, and there were no more Vegas shows scheduled for 1978.
it's interesting. We're in the month of August, and it's interesting you brought that up because the official date that everybody goes by is August 16th, and that's the date your father passed on, supposedly. But
Don't believe that.
yeah, well, I had sensed.
It's in the book.
Okay. Let me ask you about Nancy Rooks. Do you remember her?
Name sounds familiar.
She was the maid / cook.
Okay.
She used to come to work about 5 o'clock and work till midnight or so. And she gave an interview before she passed on and said, you know something?
That was the person that they asked about the drug abuse.
Yes. And she said, no, that's not true at all. Everything was being controlled. She said that Elvis was being managed. and he was being worked. I mean, he was being worked like a piece of cattle or a horse or something. The people were managing him, and she said he was ready to hang it up and reinvent himself.
That's absolutely correct.
And he never got that chance. He said that he was just plain tired. He was worked to death, really, because the drugs didn't really have that much to do with his death, other than the coronary he suffered on the 17th. But he went to the hospital and of course that's the published date. But we know that Elvis lived on life support for some time after that. So it's not till October
of that year.
Yeah. So I just found it fascinating. I saw this interview with Nancy Rooks, and she never made a big thing out of anything. And, of course, she knew a lot of things about Elvis probably that you may not even know, some of the habits and everything he had, because she was there a lot. And she was
there every day and night. All those years at Graceland.
Yeah.
And for her to say, I never saw Mr. Presley drunk. I never saw Mr. Presley under the influence of any drugs. Drugs were not allowed in the house. Liquor was not allowed in the house. In fact, he is actually in part of the information that is available on some of his videos where they actually filmed him. He's laughing with his background vocals, and they said, well, let's go get a drink, and we'll put together some change to go buy some drinks. And his bass singer turns to him and he says, well, I can use a drink. Now he drank, but he didn't drink while he was working with my father. Okay? Or if he did, it was very well controlled, and it was, in a coffee cup with coffee and other things. But my father turns and he says, we don't allow those kind of spirits in anything we do.
And it's interesting. I just heard this morning on Elvis Radio, as a matter of fact, on Sirius XM, that the Beatles went and visited Elvis at the Malibu home.
That's absolutely correct.
And that was during this month of August.
That's absolutely correct.
Back in the day. And the Beatles were just kind of like, they were wowed to meet the king of rock and roll. I mean, we've got the king of rock and roll, the king of pop, we've got the queen of soul. I mean, we've got all these different things, but Elvis was truly royalty from that aspect. And I'm going to throw out one more date to you here, because I just found, I looked up today's date, August 28th, the different things that Elvis did on these dates. And like I said, the other date, August 28th, that's when Bob Dylan got booed for playing electric guitar. Right. It's also when Tina Turner got her star on the Walk of Fame. This was in 1986. So, and I'm sure, did Elvis meet any of those other stars like Aretha and?
Believe it or not, he knew or had met almost all of them, because everybody came to see my father. Yeah. I mean, it was just one of those things. If they were in Memphis, they came by to see my father. If they were in Vegas, they came by to see my father. I mean, everybody from Tom Jones and Ann Margaret and all of the ones that appeared on the boulevard, they all came to see my father. And my father occasionally went to see them. Okay? But he was really the royal person that, although it was not personal when he stepped off the stage, but everybody treated him like the royal person there. The king of rock and roll, the one of the few monarchs the United States has ever had. I mean, we left our monarchs in England, everybody thought, and we raised up and enacted a king, which was my father, say, and everybody paid that tribute to him. And it's interesting because so many of those artists will go back and they will tell you, hey, he gave me my start. Hey, I learned so much from him. I can't believe it. Hey, we listen to his music all the time. I've got a piano player right now working with me who's worked with Otis Blackwell.
Wow.
And we are actually going to be recording. We're doing the process of doing that now. hits that were written by Otis Blackwell for my father to be recorded in 1978 in preparation for his comeback that would have been August 1978. My father was taking a year off. He was going to lose some weight. He was going to get, rest. He was going to do the vacation thing, because my father never got a chance to take vacations. And something always happened to destroy the vacation. I'm
going to bring up one other date here, and this was in 1971. He was given a Lifetime Achievement Award from the National Academy of Record Artists in Science. And you would expect a big stage show and all the hoopla and everything. They gave him this award in the dressing room. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I didn't know where he got the award. I knew he got the award.
He got the award. In the dressing room, I was wondering why. And after talking with your father's bus driver, I found out that that's where a lot of things happened. Yeah, John Grip. Things happened in the dressing room because he didn't want all the hoopla and all that. So they hand him the award, and here's your award. No, thank you very much. And that was all it said.
And for those of you who are not aware of John Grip's been with rock and roll royalty all of his life. He has handled, promoted, or delivered the biggest stars in the industry, okay? And my father was one of them. And it's kind of interesting because his testimony, his eyewitness testimony, has been written down, certified, and notarized, of seeing me working for my father from 1975 to 77 as a decoy for my father at the concerts. And I would show up in the limousine, and all the girls would rush down the ramp towards it, and I would climb out of the car and rush into the building. My father was being delivered in a sedate sedan, packed full of people, 6, 7 people in the sedan. I mean, they were literally leg to leg, arm to arm. And he's coming in a little private door on the opposite side of the auditorium, where nobody expected him to come. And I would do the decoy work. Well, he would go out of the back door of the hotel, and I would rush out of the front door of the hotel and jump into the limousine and head for the auditorium.
Well, speaking of decoys, you don't have a decoy.
No, I don't.
You are going to do a concert, and you're going to start a world tour pretty soon here.
Oh, yes.
And I think if I can pull up this video, I'll pull up this video here. This is it here.
You got video? Oh my goodness!
And I don't know.
From the soulful roots of Memphis to stories never told.
Did I click
Michael
the video?
Presley brings the fire,
I think you might have clicked
and
the
the
slide.
sound that shaped the dynasty.
Okay, the video
One
is
stage,
not playing. I guess it's got to
one
be
night,
reset. But,
one name
we'll
that
try
still
and
echoes
get that video
across
up and post that up on the
generations.
Facebook page, VTRC, for you later. But once again, this world tour is going to kick off
Feel the
Saturday.
legacy.
About
What
30 days from
Michael
now.
Presley
Okay,
reflects
yes,
on
September
September
27.
is waiting
In,
for you.
of all places, New Jersey. Of course, you know why people from New Jersey have a
See
dim
this
view.
amazing show live
'Cause the light at
Saturday,
the end of their
September
tunnel is in New
27
York.
from 7 to 11
Oh my
p.m.
gosh.
Eastern at the Playhouse at WTHS.
Sorry, New
519
Yorkers.
Kirkville, Krosky Road, Minuteman
That's a
Drive
Vegas
in
joke for New
Sewell,
York.
New Jersey. Get your
I
tickets
tried.
now at eventbrite.com.
That's why I do radio shows.
September
I'm not
27
a
at the
comedian.
Playhouse at WTHS.
But I found some of the history quite fascinating with this, and we look forward to that. We look forward to the book. And are you still doing the golden tickets in the CDs? Have
Oh
you done
yes,
that yet?
yes, and apparently they haven't found one yet.
Okay.
But trust me, folks, it is out there. It will be available also in the books.
How many did you send out? Like 4
I don't
or 5?
know because I don't handle any of that. Management
Okay.
takes care of that, and I told them to send out a lot because,
Yeah.
come and see me. Really seriously, this is what I would like. What I would like to do. If I could tell all of your listeners, come and see me. Wherever we're performing, folks, come and see me. I want to meet you. We're going to make it available. We're doing a meet and greet prior to the concert in the afternoon. We're going to have the people who now they've got them paying more money for those tickets, and that's just the way they do things in
Well, it's the
today's.
business.
Yeah, it's the
That's
business.
the business.
But come and see me, and I want to meet and greet as many people as I can because my father was that way. He loved to meet and greet people and sign autographs and do all that kind of stuff. We could take
But
selfies. That's
he
not
did
a
not
problem.
want to get bombarded like.
No, he didn't want to get
No.
slammed. And towards the end, of course, he wasn't able to do that. But it was always when somebody was presented to him, he always took the moment out. He's done it right before a show. They're holding the curtain by 5 minutes, okay, for him to come out on the stage. And he's in the back dressing room meeting a little girl or something like that and receiving some gift that they had brought there. And he was just that way. My father was a wonderful, wonderful human being. Don't believe all the drug reports. Don't believe he died on the toilet with his pants around his ankles. I've heard that one too. And that just didn't happen. And my father told me in 1974, because I was at that concert opening night, I had won Mr. Teen America and had gotten a contract straight out of high school. I was just a new graduate from high school. Graduated in 1974, and I got a contract to play you remember the old El Dorado? And
Yeah.
I think it was called something else before that. It was on the Strip. And I was playing their showroom the week before my father appeared for that opening night, and he saw me at the end of my closing show, and then had already arranged for all of my belongings to go over the International Hotel. I'm a young guy, 18. I don't want to stay in Vegas. There's nothing for me here to do but to sing, and they escort me back and forth to the stage.
That's because you weren't 21, so you
Exactly, I
couldn't
couldn't do anything. And he had transferred me already, and I told him, I says, no, Mama's waiting for me to come back to L.A., because we lived in L.A. at the time. And he says, no, I've already talked to your mother. And he had given my mother a ram's head ring, which has been on my hand all through these years.
Wow.
And I got that after I returned to Las Vegas, or after I returned from Las Vegas to L.A., but the ram's head ring matches his ram's head ring, matches the necklace, matches the bracelet, matches all of that set that he had, and he had this ram's head ring. He was a Capricorn, and I'm an Aries.
Okay.
And so we're both, I guess you call us goats or something. We're both longhorned rams, I guess.
All right.
But that show I was there, and he opened with something different. And afterwards, I had got a chance to talk to him up in his suite, and I said, Dad, it was kind of like lukewarm. Are they always like that? And he says, no, son. He says they're not ready for what I showed them tonight. So he says, tomorrow we go back to the old show. They'll love that show, and I'll keep playing that show, but we're coming out in 1978 with a new comeback. And for those of you who know history, you want to go back and check, my father had actually done 4 comebacks.
Wow.
Or this would have been his 4th comeback. And it's just, that was my dad. That was Daddy, and I loved him, and we spent as much time as we could. But when you're with the king of rock and roll, his demands on his time and people putting the demands on him, even though you're his son, the time is limited. But I'll tell you, I've looked back over that time, and I've said to myself, some people said, well, my gosh, it wasn't hardly enough. And I said, no, for my father, it was enough. And we packed in the moments and seconds that we were together a lifetime of talking and learning and questioning and doing all that stuff. My father was a fantastic man, and I want you all to know that. And he was nothing like, in private, he was nothing like he was on stage. And Miss Sheila Ryan was there with him in 1974, and I'd come up to the suite, and she was there. And the Presley men, whether it be my grandfather or my father or me, we have a demeanor to us, okay? And I'm not saying this to brag or anything like that. I'm just saying we have a Southern charm and demeanor. And I took Miss Sheila Ryan's hand when I walked through the door, because my dad was in the suite somewhere talking to some people. And she says, oh, Michael, it's so good to meet you finally. I took her hand and I kissed her hand, and I said, it is a pleasure to meet you, Miss Ryan. And she took her hand back and she looked at me and she says, oh, I've got to watch out for you. She says, you're too much like your dad. So it was just, and I wasn't meaning to be that way. It's just, I was paying her the womanly respect she needed to have.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I'm going to bring up something. I went and saw Wayne Newton, And he came down on the stage, walking on the tables in the audience, climbed down, and he kissed this woman. And he turned to her husband and said, "You're not getting any tonight because she's not going to wash your face and she's not going to let you touch her." He was like your dad. There was just a certain characteristic of being an entertainer, and your dad had it.
I could see my face in the video, and I'm blushing now. It's
Well, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I've gave you some new information about when Elvis left the building that you can take with you.
We are going to go to the VA hospital though and do a tour and meet some people there.
Yeah,
today.
we can go there
because
today, yes.
I noticed the folks. I had promised this the last time, and I want to make sure that everybody knows that I stay true to my promises.
All right,
And I had promised the vets and all the workers down there and the people that listen to your program that I would go visit those people down
and
there.
you're
at
also
the
going to
VA.
visit with Ninon today too. So
I am, and I'm
we'll
looking.
do that.
Listen,
And-
folks, you have this Ninon is a beautiful woman, very classy, one of the classiest women I've ever met in my lifetime, and I just think I think nothing but triple A's, quadruple A's. When they grade a diamond, it's A or A. It's 4 A's.
Okay.
She's beyond a 4A. She's a 4A plus.
Okay. And once again, we thank you for coming.
And don't forget the
tuning in.
concert, WTHS concert in Sewell, New Jersey, coming up on the 27th of September, which is, as you said, about a month.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to ask questions during that concert. I will answer your questions. We're going to pack as much music as I can pack into that concert. We're going to tell my story. We're going to tell the facts about my father, stuff that you'll learn in the book. And there's the video.
Yeah.
Oh, can you play that as we go
I don't know
out?
if we can play that again or not. Let's see. Let's go back to here, and then we'll see if we can launch the video again. I guess it's got to
bloodline of a
reset,
legend.
restart.
The voice of a
Maybe
new
it'll
era
do it.
and a legacy.
Oh, this is a video we prepared to just start the show off today, and it's not playing either, so I don't know what's
Well, folks, you'll be able to get it on the
on our Facebook page.
on the
We'll
Facebook
post up
page.
there, and this will be posted, of course, on our YouTube channel, VTRC Space USA. So
And-
we'll be able to get it.
And something that just happened just the other day, we signed a contract with iHeartRadio.
Oh, great.
They will be handling all of the radio advertisement, them and Clear Communications and Bandstand Radio, which has already been working with us. All three radio stations will be handling the information for the entire World Concert Tour around the world. We want to thank, too, the Gannett Industry people who own all the newspapers across the United States, in that they will be running all of the print newspaper and editorials, too, for us. And these are just great people that have come on board. I can't say enough good things about Gannett, and I can't say enough good things about iHeart.
And one last thing before we go, and that is, I don't know if you know this yet or not, but you're kicking off a world tour, September 27th. When is the projected date for Vegas?
Projected date for Vegas, we are looking at that right now. I'd like it to be this coming summer.
Okay.
I'd like it to be 1 year from today. And what we're doing is we're looking for a residency. And we don't just want it to be a one night. I would like to come in and do a week or two of shows. That way we can really offer a lot of different things to the attendees. And we want to offer all the special little goodies and stuff that we want to offer to the people in the best seats. But we just want to provide you with just the best show. And then I want to come back at least once a year to do the residency and bring you the updated version of the show each year to Las Vegas and make it kind of like our place, where we kick off the year's worth of performances, and we do it here in Vegas.
Oh, that's great.
And for those of you
we'll be
that
getting the new show,
the new show each time, and for those of you who run the casinos and the showrooms and the lounges and all that kind of stuff, take a heads up. We'd love to see the junkets come back, and if you need help with that, I'll be more than glad to jump on board, because I jumped on board for the concert tour. We're doing proceeds from that is going to benefit Lewy body research and Parkinson's research.
Oh,
And,
Parkinson's, it was a big deal if you were a Vietnam veteran. That's one of the presumptive disorders.
And that's one of the reasons why we're doing it.
Yeah. Okay, once again, I thank you, and it's time to say, well,
I want to thank you very much for the
That's all,
opportunity to come
folks.
back on here.
okay, thank you.